Hey fellow gardeners, Dawn here from Seasonal Designs. I'm in the greenhouse today doing a couple of projects. It is cold outside, but it is sure beautiful inside the greenhouse this morning. Now what I'm going to do today is I'm planting up snapdragons. And I have 3 different varieties that I am using, and they are all from Johnny's Seeds. You know that Johnny's is one of my favorites. And the varieties are a Potomac Orange, a Potomac Berry, and then something called an Early Bronze. Now, you are going to need some supplies for this. Number 1, you are going to need something to grow them in, and I like these really super great all-in-one combination Grow-E seed starter kits from Garden Supply. I bought a bunch of these on sale last year, and I have some that I have used, and then I have some newer ones, but these are what I'm going to be using today. The other thing you're going to need is a good seed starting mix. The stuff that I am using today is actually from Garden Supply, and I have already pre-moistened it in my bin here, which is another thing that's very handy to have to kind of keep the mess all together in one place. I have pre-moistened this soil with water to a texture that when you squeeze it, it holds together, but water doesn't really come out of it. So you want to make sure it already is moistened before you put that in the tray. The last thing you're going to need is obviously some water and then a heat mat. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. What we're going to do, we're simply going to put our tray in this nice container that holds all my dirt in, and we're simply going to press the potting mix, which is a soil starting mix, into this tray until all the trays are filled up. And then I'm going to come through and I'm just going to gently push them down, because you can see it actually isn't all filled up. It has a little bit of space in there. You don't want that in there. So, and then I'm going to come through again and just make sure that all of these holes are filled up just like this. So when you're done, it should look just like that. All right, let's do another one. Move our soil out of the way, grab my next tray, and let's do the same thing. There we go. I have all 3 of these ready to go, and I am going to put 1 type per flat here. So the first one I am going to plant is going to be my Potomac Orange, and they're really tiny, and they typically come wrapped in another container, and there are supposed to be, I think, 50 seeds in here, which does not look like 50, but oh, they're the tiniest little things. Like, you don't want to put them in your hand and sneeze, because I'm hoping you can see how tiny, tiny, tiny they are. There they are, tiny as can be. I'm going to put 2 of these per cell and see what we get for germination. Now you can do these with a toothpick. I'm going to try to do them without a toothpick. And they are so tiny, you guys, like so tiny. They're probably gonna end up like my violas, which were also super tiny. And like I have like a couple of cells where I have nothing in them. And then I have a couple of cells where I have like 4 or 5 coming up. They are just so small, but we're just gonna do the best we can here. Let's see if I can get you down here so you can see the toothpick method here. I've got all my little seeds in my hand. I'm hoping you can see them. I'm going to take 1 seed, and it should moisten it, should stick just like that. Hoping you can see it on the end of that. And I'm going to just touch it into the soil. One more, come on, baby. There we go. All right, I got 2 seeds on this one, which I am simply going to brush off into here. Gonna come back. Gonna try to take 1 to add. Okay, I've got 1. I'm gonna put it over here in this other, oh, yep, there we go. Drop it off. I mean, this is like not easy. There, it's stuck. Okay, there we go. Now you see why I do it with the finger method. There, I've got another one. I'm just gonna brush it into the dirt here. Okay, toothpick method is kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm going back in with my fingers, and I've got 1, 2 seeds there. Kind of spread them out in your hand a little bit. So you can grab 2 seeds for that cell. I've got 1, 2 for the next cell. You can kind of pinch them and roll them around between your fingers, and you can kind of feel how many seeds you have in there, especially once you do this once or twice. Okay, this is the berry blend. Don't forget to put something in here so that you know what you've got. So I'm just gonna stick something in this one like that. And then we have 1 more blend we're gonna plant up. That's this one here, the early bronze. All right, we've got these planted up, and I'm going to give everybody a mist of water here. And I really love using my mister versus a watering can because the soil is already pre-moistened, but I want to make sure everybody is in there and moistened down and has good contact with the soil. The other thing I'm going to do is you either need to put a light layer of soil over the top of this or a very light layer of vermiculite. And I'm actually going to put a light layer of vermiculite over the top of this. And that is going to kind of help retain the moisture and also help reduce algae growth. And it's going to make sure that the seed has contact with the growing medium. So I'm simply going to put this on fairly lightly. But you want to make sure it's covering every cell. Going to give it 1 more spray of water, just like that. Now that these are ready to go, I do want to talk about how I'm going to water these. Initially, I'm going to use my sprayer, which you saw me use, but eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the wicking mat here that comes in this really nice setup from Gardener Supply. And what you do is simply set this up. Once these get growing, they'll be able to wick moisture from this bottom tray. And it's really easy to do. You simply fill this up with water. You put this little support in here. You take the wicking mat and it's going to feed into one side so it is in the moisture. So I've fed it into this side here. And then your tray of seeds fits on top and it feeds it or moisturizes it from the bottom. And then your lid simply goes on top. I have all of these on my heat mats right now. I've got them covered with their lids. And I am going to grow this for the next 7 to 14 days on this heat mat set at about 75 degrees. Now, after these have come up and they have about 3 to 5 true leaves, I am going to reduce the temperature to about 55 degrees because they do like to be grown at cooler temperatures. And when the plants are about like 3 to 4 inches tall, I'm probably going to pinch half of them back by about half so I can encourage branching, which then should give me more blooms. Really, after about 8 to 10 weeks of growing, I'll be able to plant these out in my garden after the danger of frost has passed. They prefer overall to be grown in full sun, but they do very well in part shade. They do like a rich, well-drained soil to grow in. Now we will check back in on these after about 14 days, and I'll give you guys an update on like a shorts video. But that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.